Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Halton Hills housing update. So I've got June's unofficial final numbers and the prices are crazy. And also, spoiler alert, what happened the first week in July is our inventory plummeted. So let's dive right into these crazy numbers. So in June of 2020, that is really the month where we felt things turn back around with our COVID lockdown. So in June of 2020, there was a lot of inventory on the market from, April, May. And so we had 125 units transact, which is a pretty high monthly number for Halton Hills. This year, again, we have seen pretty low inventories through June. We only had 102 units sell. So that's down about 19% year over year. So what's interesting is our prices. This story has remained relatively the same for all of 2021. But knowing that last June is where we started to see things pick up, I thought maybe there'd be less of a gap between our average price, but no. So in June of 2020, our average price was $885,000. This year, it was 1.158. So that's an over 30% increase from last June. And looking back, I should have probably looked at this earlier, but we were at $1,041,000 in May's numbers of this year. So we saw a huge jump in June. Almost half of the properties that sold in all of June were over $1 million. I think 5 or 6 of them were over $2 million. So that kind of movement in the higher price points is just pulling up that average price. And even still, we had tons of stuff transact between 800 and $1 million. So all of those factors are really pulling up our average price. So overall, June was a pretty crazy month in terms of sales. We didn't have as many units as last year, but there just was not as many units available. When I go back to last year, there was 137 units available, whereas our weeks through June were like sitting at 70 this year. So just less available, so there was less for people to buy. So now let's look at what happened last week. And I am shocked at how our inventory dropped in the last week. In Georgetown this week, we had 19 properties sell, which is in line, a bit higher than what we've been seeing. 16 of them sold over asking. So the far majority of stuff sold over asking this week. The really bad news is we only had 8 new listings. That is a huge gap. On top of only 8 new listings, the list of properties that terminated or suspended and haven't re-entered the market was pretty high. So combining those two things is not good news for inventory levels for buyers. Looking at Acton, we had 4 properties sell, totally normal there. 3 of them over asking, so lots of activity in terms of bidding wars. We did have 3 new listings in Acton, so at least not as big of a gap there. So now looking at Glen Williams, we had no sales and 1 new listing. Limehouse all of a sudden has dropped off. We were seeing a lot of stuff happening in Limehouse. There was no sales and no new listings. In the rural market, there was 1 sale, but no new listings. So now overall inventory. This is the story this week. 58 active units, down from 76. So huge drop down. We have not been in the 50s in terms of available inventory since mid-February. That is not good news because mid-February is when everything was crazy. So 58 listings in all of Halton Hills is kind of scary. Now looking at Georgetown's inventory, we are down from 42 to 27 active listings in Georgetown. So the same story with that inventory. We have not been under 30 available properties since the end of February. And so we are getting into an even worse inventory situation right now. Looking at our active price points, they are all down this week and down quite a bit. Under 700,000 is down to 3 active listings from 6, so in half. 7 to 8 is down to 4 active listings from 8, so also in half. 800 to $1 million is sitting at 6 active listings from 10. You're seeing a trend here? We're almost like cutting our inventory in half this week. Less of a drop, but still a very low number is our million plus, which is sitting at 14, down from 18. All of these numbers are very comparable to what was happening in February. And even that million plus, like we haven't been below 15 active listings in that price point since February. And so I honestly can't believe this, but like I did not think it was possible for our inventory to hit the levels that it was at January and February, because like it felt like there was nothing available, but like here we are again. I will cry if that 58 number goes below 50 next week. Like this is going to be a crazy summer. Now looking at Acton. Acton is down to only 6 active listings. We had a couple come off the market there this week. So from 9 to 6 active listings in Acton is like nothing. One of them is over $1 million, so only 5 products available under $1 million in Acton. Yikes. Glen Williams, the shining star this week, is up to 5 active listings. The one property had like 20 offers last night, so that one's gonna be gone. But after that, you're looking at least 1.8 million, so less buyers in there. So Glen Williams isn't transacting as crazy, but everything is like high ticket. Limehouse is still sitting at 1 active listing. It's sold conditional. And the rural market is down to 19 active listings. We've been teetering between that 19 and 23. I anticipate next week, this will probably go down because of what we're seeing in town. We are gonna see more rural properties transacting. It's inevitable. So horrendous news for this week. Like, I really thought that maybe we would see a shift in inventory, but it is going in the wrong way. And now we've been going the wrong way for like 3 or 4 weeks. So everyone thinks that the market is changing. And I have to agree in the sense that, like we talked about last week, buyer fatigue is a real thing. But when we see inventory this low, it is inevitable that prices are gonna go up again. Like there's just no supply. And we never saw that spring influx of inventory. Like we had a time, I guess, in May where we did get over 103, but that still didn't feel like a huge spike in comparison to what we're used to seeing. And now being back down under 60 active listings in Halton Hills, like this is just the craziest real estate year. So hopefully we can start to see this shift, but if I'm looking at trends for the last few weeks, we are going in the wrong direction for buyers. There is less and less available inventory coming on the market, and that is gonna be a situation. So we will see what happens next week, but overall, this is not good. So I will see you all back here next Tuesday to hopefully report some better news with our market and tell everyone to just list their house, please. I've been telling you guys this for months, but like we seriously need a lot of listings. Have a great week, everyone.